What's going on there, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boy oh boy, as we all already know, the Battlefield community has been jumping to conclusion on absolutely everything within the Battlefield 6 beta, including the fact that they don't believe DICE knows how to go ahead and put together larger scale maps, even though DICE did come out and say that they are purposefully going ahead and incorporating all of their smallest maps within the beta to, one, showcase that they do understand how to put together a small map in a proper fashion, and two, to stress test the overall game. They've done this time and time and time before with previous Battlefield titles. Not all of them, but a decent amount. Where the best way, again, for them to stress test and see how the performance of the game is to test it out on the smaller maps, because that is where all the action is. You know, it's more condensed, a lot of people in one place, when explosions are going on, so on and so forth, and more action means you get to test out the weapons and get a better understanding of what needs to be buffed, nerfed, tuned, all of the above. They already said this to us, but of course the community didn't believe a word. They're saying DICE is incompetent, and they don't understand what a good Battlefield map is. Well, lo and behold, the rest of the maps within Battlefield 6 that are coming at launch got leaked. And let me tell you guys something. Yes, indeed, the community overreacted for absolutely nothing. Now, of course, I am not going to be showcasing them in this video right here because some of the posts that I've seen have been taken down, which further prove that these leaks are actually true, because if they weren't true, more than likely EA wouldn't want to do anything with it. So I'm going to go ahead and spam as many links as I could possibly find down in the description of this video so you guys can see with your own eyes. No guarantee that when you click any of the links, they'll still be there because, again, EA is being very active about this. But again, I'll try to leave some information for you guys down there, and if you don't see any of the sites, you can still hit me up over on Twitter as well. You guys find a link to that channel down in the description of this video. Hit me in the DMs. I do have a lot of the pictures saved on my PC itself, so I can just send it to you directly so you can see what the big maps are actually looking like. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm not lying to you guys when I say this. We are so freaking back. Some of the biggest complaints that I heard about a lot of the map variety within Battlefield 6 is that, one, there's not enough room or space for vehicles to actually have some fun combat. A lot of the maps that we got were much more condensed when it came down to the lanes. Amazing for infantry, but for tanks, you needed a lot of engineers because you didn't have much wiggle room to rotate around the map. You're mostly just going down tight corridors, which means a lot of RPGs are funneling right towards you, which means you need like 2 to 3 engineers backing you up. It's fun gameplay. I love playing that. I have nothing wrong with it. And when you get a good squad together of engineers, you can really dominate a team. But that's not what everybody wants. So that was one of the biggest complaints. Not enough vehicles and maps that support the vehicles. And two, verticality. No verticality in the game. And the only verticality we got was on maps like Cairo, for example, where you can glitch on top of the rooftops where you weren't supposed to be. But ladies and gentlemen, as I stated, for the rest of the maps that are going to be coming into Battlefield 6 here, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. There's plenty of verticality and plenty of open space for vehicles to go ahead and tear everything up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I got to see about 3 overviews of some of the maps, and I also got to see the other New York map that we're going to be getting that is going to be open to helicopters, but it didn't really have an overview. So I got to see New Sobeck City. I got to see Moroc Valley. And also, obviously, Firestorm. Now, you guys already know what Firestorm is looking like. I don't have to, talk about the overview. It's looking very good, and I think, obviously, everybody's going to go ahead and enjoy that. But what about the couple of other maps that we got into the rotation here? First and foremost, New Sobeck City is looking absolutely phenomenal. So far, everything that I'm seeing online from everybody is saying that it looks like Gulf of Omen, and I gotta be honest with you guys, it really freaking does. Minus, obviously, the beach landing. But when it comes to that, not deserty style of look, although it does look pretty dang deserty, it just has that vibe with the color palette and the buildings, the construction zone. All across the map is a construction site that you're going to be able to fight throughout. I'm assuming there's going to be tons of destruction. And trust me, when I say the verticality is going to be absurd, it is going to be absurd. I can already see people getting like squad drop-offs from helis, getting spawn beacons down to, go ahead and rotate easily. It's going to be absolutely insane what you're going to be able to do. And I'm assuming, obviously, with the amazing parachuting mechanics in Battlefield 6, you're going to be able to fly across some of these maps with how high that you can actually go. It's looking pretty dang decent. Also, on top of the little bit of an overview, like I said, that I could see, it seems like there's going to be plenty of terrain for tanks and I'm assuming other vehicles to kind of have their own combat and work around, maybe not the mountainsides. I saw pyramids, of course, in the background, which looked absolutely phenomenal. And I'm begging you, DICE, please allow us to go near the pyramids in some way, shape, or form. Don't just make it in the background, because again, I guess it's all concept art that's being leaked. So, typically with the concept art, you get to see a lot of the beauties. But I hope they make it a playable area. But it looks like there's plenty of room for tanks to go and have their own combat, while at the same time, infantry is centralized. This is the map design that I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Just like from Battlefield 3. Tanks and helicopters and all the vehicles had a place, but infantry didn't feel like they were just absolutely screwed anytime they saw a large map put into the rotation. New Sobeck City looks freaking outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And the variety in gameplay is going to be top notch when it comes to everybody, whether you want to be in vehicles or even infantry. The next up here, I got to be honest with you guys, it might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but Moroc Valley is looking freaking awesome. Personally, this is probably one of my top favorites, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I don't know how popular that opinion is going to go ahead and be, but the vibes I'm getting out of Moroc Valley are just top notch. You have the mountains with some snow, scattered on top. A lot of the combat zone that you're going to be fighting in is going to be foresty, so a lot of trees, and it's going to be grassy terrain, I guess mud and dirt. Burnt everything, obviously, because it's a war zone. You're going to be seeing a lot of different buildings, backyards. I'm guessing houses that were around this area. Nothing crazy, it doesn't look like anything like we're in California or something. We have these top tier houses. No, it's kind of like a village, I guess you can kind of say. But still, it looks outstanding. It looks like there's going to be tons of destruction, and it seems centralized in Moroc Valley. There's also going to be some type of construction zone, which is going to be adding that verticality that people are probably going to want, and also, adding for some really intense combat, probably more so towards the central flags. And then on top of that, there's plenty of outskirt space for, vehicles to go ahead and navigate, get some more open vehicle gameplay. While at the same time, as I stated, infantry can still funnel into the more, the more in-depth area where there's buildings, construction zones, so on and so forth, trenches, and all of the above to get extra cover to move around the map. Seriously, this one is looking to be probably one of my favorites visually. I hope it plays just as good as it looks. But ladies and gentlemen, the best part about everything here is the fact that it seems the majority of these maps are on par with the size of Siege of Shanghai, which I personally think Siege of Shanghai is a perfect size for a Battlefield map. It's not too large where it feels like you're running across the globe, but it's, it's not so close that it feels like you're playing Nuketown. It's right smack dab in the middle. Perfect for vehicles, perfect for infantry, all of the above. And again, it seems like a lot of them are following that pattern. Besides, obviously, Moroc Valley, which again, I know it's going to be a bit large, but man, that looks very fun, and I think people are going to be happy with that one. But even, again, the Manhattan Bridge, which is the other version of the New York, map that they have going on there, is going to be around the size, again, of Siege of Shanghai. Everybody was worried. They saw Empire State and absolutely lost their crap. And again, we already knew Empire State was coming into the game, but there's two portions of New York that we're going to be able to play. And Manhattan Bridge is going to have, helicopters included, and it's going to be pretty decently sized. So I'm very excited to see the other half of New York that we get to go ahead and mess around with. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, as I stated, patience is key. They already promised us that the rest of the maps in the game are going to be larger, including the DLC moving forward. And I still understand that people are probably going to say it's still not enough large content. But if you actually have a real comparison, seriously, a real comparison, this is on par to the amount of vehicle play that we got out of Battlefield 3. And Battlefield 3 continued to grow and grow and grow. And the same thing can happen with Battlefield 6. As long as the devs understand that, what we have now when it comes to size, the smallness, keep it there. That's fine. Those maps are enjoyable for what they are. But we need to keep branching out, adding more content into the mix that is larger scale, so we can have just basically every last bit of variety within the Battlefield franchise. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, make sure you go down in the comment section and let me know what you think about all this leaked information about the future upcoming maps for Battlefield 6. Of course, like I stated, I have all the links, hopefully they're still there, down in the description of the video for you guys to go ahead and check out bit by bit, piece by piece. And of course, if those links don't work, as I stated, I do have a lot of it already saved on my PC. So again, you can hit me up over on Twitter in the DMs. And, if I see it in time, I can go ahead and line it up over your way. But seriously, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that these maps are good enough? Do you think that this is the size that we have been asking for? For me personally, when I saw them, I was really happy. Seriously, I was very, very, very happy. Not only do they look good visually, atmosphere-wise, all of the above, but the layout of them looks extraordinarily solid. And again, as I stated before, it looks like it's going to be a perfect mix of vehicle play and infantry play. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget subscribing, hit that bell. I post your daily at 8 in the morning Eastern time. Everything between COD, Battlefield, Splitgate 2, Arc Raiders. You best believe you'll be able to find it here. And sometimes we even go ahead and double upload at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So, as I stated before, subscribing, hit that bell. And last but not least, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, if you guys are interested, you gotta link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.